Okay, so why is everyone so excited about the cannabis industry? It's the fastest growing industry in the world. It's growing faster than natural foods, faster than cosmetics, faster than alcohol. And we have something a little bit different that we're going to share today. So first I want to just, before we dive into more about the business and more about our strategy, I want to share a little bit more about our transaction. So we have an interesting transaction. MTech is a special purpose acquisition company that IPO'd onto the NASDAQ in January of a year ago, so 2018. They raised the money specifically to acquire a business ancillary to the cannabis industry. We announced in October that that business will be MJ Freeway, and this is what our transaction looks like. So the funds that are raised in trust are that yellow part of the pie chart there. The MJ Freeway ownership and the MJ Freeway shareholders, including myself, are all rolling 100% of our equity into this transaction, represent the dark gray bar, and then the sponsors who put together the SPAC, the Special Purpose Acquisition Company, short SPAC for short, get that light gray portion, or the sponsor promote, if you will. So what are we doing? We are creating a powerful cannabis technology platform to address the entire cannabis supply chain at global scale. And MTech brings deep industry knowledge. The founders of the SPAC have been involved in the cannabis industry for about 4 or 5 years, both operationally as well as on the investment side through a venture fund called Hyper Ventures. And we are, MJ Freeway, is the largest cannabis technology company, roughly 30% of the available market worldwide. And we're really only the only true technology provider that operates across the entire supply chain and is compliant in every legal market. We also are really the only cannabis technology provider that's truly operating globally with clients in 12 countries. We have to date processed more than $13 billion in legal cannabis sales transactions. And when we talk about the supply chain, we're talking about cultivation, manufacturing, distribution, retail. We also have a compliance layer that sits on top that's a product for government agencies. I've been in this industry actually going on a decade this year, so 10 years, and we have been featured in every major media outlet that you can think of. I was recognized as one of Inc. magazine's 100 female founders this year. MJ Freeway has made the Inc. 5000 list of America's fastest growing companies for the past 4 years running, and also was recognized a couple years ago as one of Fortune's 10 most promising female entrepreneurs nationwide. They did not do anything just on cannabis back in that time. So here's what we're talking about in terms of seed to sale. What does MJ Freeway actually do? Cultivation, manufacturing, distribution, retail, and then we have this compliance function that sits on top. And the way that I think you should think about us as investors, you should think about us as an attractively valued software as a service technology business with great SaaS metrics, by the way, and you get to participate in the upside of the cannabis industry as a bonus, as a reward portion of this investment. So we're the only global platform built to serve business and government. We invented seed to sale technology. If you go to seedtosale.com, it still redirects to mjfreeway.com. We serve a full range of cannabis operations, and we have that safety, that recurring revenue model, and the safety profile represented by that recurring revenue model. We also raised a Series B round of financing in 2015 to build our enterprise product, MJ Platform, which is our B2B product. And part of what we were able to do with that fundraise and in building this true enterprise-focused product was build a truly scalable infrastructure that can support rapid growth as well as targeted acquisitions. And we have the first mover advantage in both development and deployment of an enterprise software. Now, this is, I think, the most important slide that we're going to talk about today. This is the market opportunity. And it's important framing as you think about an investment in what we're doing, that in any other industry, according to Gartner, businesses would spend 6% of their total revenue on technology solutions. They would spend 3.5% on just on enterprise and IT, which is our category right there. That's what we do. Today, in cannabis, that represents a $300 million, mostly untapped market opportunity. It's $1 billion in just a couple years. So that's what we're going after. That's our market opportunity. That's why we're participating in this public vehicle, which MTech is listed on the NASDAQ. When we close, we will be listed on the NASDAQ. We've created a holding company structure called Akerna, A-K-E-R-N-A, and MJ Freeway will be wholly owned underneath Akerna. So we all know that the cannabis industry is growing. If all we were to do was grow at the rate of the cannabis industry, it would be a tremendous outcome. But again, we think that there's a much larger market opportunity to address. We know there is. So right now, these businesses, why haven't they been spending the $300 million that any other business in any other market would spend? It's because, and if you were here for the presentation prior to this one, Curaleaf's presentation, you would have heard that they are focused on land grab. They're focused on how many licenses can they acquire. They've been focused on fundraise. And as globalization continues, as the market continues to consolidate, businesses will need to invest in their IT and focus on efficiencies. And that's where we come in and where we're positioned to serve. So we have the global footprint to address this market. We already have a beachhead in almost every legal market that you can see there worldwide. And we think that globalization is going to become more than pins in a map next year. So as you look at 2018, North America was still 90% of all cannabis sales. Moving into 2019, 2020, and beyond, there will be, if you listen to Jada's presentation this morning, there's market opportunity that will be emerging in all of these, all of these markets in which we're already operating. So what is our strategy to address and capture this available market? We have the platform built to scale and to scale globally. With this transaction, we have the financial resources in place. We expect to have roughly $60 million on our balance sheet when we close. And we also have the currency of a NASDAQ listing. We intend to use that to accelerate our growth and to pursue a targeted acquisition strategy, positioning ourselves as the leading cannabis technology provider. We talk about it internally in our team and our leadership team. What is it we're going to do? We're going to drop the mic as the leading cannabis technology provider. So just a little bit more granular detail on the technology that we currently have, what we do, what it means when we talk about serving cultivation or manufacturing or distribution. That's everything from vendor management to labor management, cost of goods sold, forecasting, supplies, inventory, point of sale, CRM, online ordering. We have what we think of in the IT services world or the enterprise services world, we think of it as a wheel. And we serve all of those pieces around the wheel of everything that you need to run your business at any piece of the vertical, any piece of the supply chain. We also have a regulatory oversight product called Leaf Data Systems, and we have two clients for that product, the states of Washington and the state of Pennsylvania. And it's interesting to note that the state of Pennsylvania is unique in that Pennsylvania mandates the operators also use MJ Platform. So we provide a small compliance portion of MJ Platform to the operators in Pennsylvania as part of our contract there, and then we have upsell opportunity for other modules of MJ Platform in Pennsylvania. And this is what we've been able to do historically. We have enjoyed the ability to really capitalize on rapid growth and to turn it into more rapid growth. Our financials, as we look at the projections, and I want to make a note on this from a presentation point of view, we raised a Series C round of private financing that we closed in August, $10 million oversubscribed, at a 50 pre, 60 post, and this transaction values us at $70 million enterprise valuation, so all in line there. We're funded as a business, and these projections take into account only what we can do with that $10 million. They don't take into account what we can do with this transaction and the $60 million that we expect to close here in the next couple weeks. So here's our board of directors. We'll have 3 folks moving on from the MTAC Special Purpose Acquisition Vehicle to our combined board. I'll continue to serve on the board. And I also want to just mention the type of investors who have invested in MJ Freeway as a private company. Our Series A round was led by Dow Capital, which is family investment arm for the Pritzker family. Hank Handelsman serves in that seat on our board. And Roger McNamee led our Series B round of financing and will serve as senior strategic advisor to our board moving forward. He's been a tremendous mentor to me. But if you're familiar with Roger, he was an early investor in Facebook. He founded or co-founded both Elevation Partners and Silver Lake Partners. And if he were here today, he would tell you that he sees MJ Freeway as the last true ground-up enterprise SaaS play. Because all other industries, the big companies are able to emerge with the industry, and we've had a 9-year head start. I also want to just touch for a moment on our leadership team, because in most other industries, or especially across cannabis, we've had some trouble in retaining really top talent. And that's not true for our team. I've got a tremendous team that has joined me, that my COO has taken a couple different companies from a few $1 million in revenue to a couple $100 million exits. My CFO has public market CFO experience, both in regulated industries as well as software as a service. Previously, she holds a certified anti-money laundering specialist certification. And even among the rest of my leadership suite, I have folks who served as CTOs of public companies prior, folks who came from Coca-Cola, and just a real depth of leadership at MJ Freeway. So this is how we see our competitive landscape today. As you can see, we view competitors as operating in a piece of what we do. And generally, then they're also only compliant in particular markets. And so rather than viewing this as a competitive landscape, we see this as a consolidation opportunity. And we hope you'll join us. And with that, I'm going to open it up for questions.
Jessica, tell us how your system helps with product recalls when there's an emergency, consumers having a problem, you have to quickly trace the source back to the origin and supply chain and help pinpoint where the problem is?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the question is, how does our system assist with recalls? So this is the heart of what seed to sale means, the heart of that technology that we invented. So the idea is that you can track any product, what happened to it while it was growing, any additives that were applied, through harvest, through cure, through manufacturing, if it was changed into other products, finally through to the sale to a final patient or consumer. And at any point in time, this makes recalls very, very easy. You can go back and you can say, this batch, this lot, it went to these outlets and was sold to to these people. And so we can communicate very, very quickly on recalls. I believe that this technology will be adapted to other industry. I believe that cannabis, by virtue of being a new and emerging industry, has invented technology. And in fact, I have consulted with many other supply chain industries about how you do this kind of tracking. Yes.
Do you sell anonymized customer data?
So we have had the right, to date we've processed, the question is, do we sell anonymized custom data? So we have had the right since inception to aggregate and monetize our client data. And to date we've processed more than $13 billion in legal cannabis sales transactions. So we currently have a piece of MJ platform that we provide back as value to our existing clients, because we feel that it's important to always provide value first. We provide an aggregate data market view benchmarking product back to our existing clients. And to date, we have not monetized our data beyond providing this value back to our existing client base, it is certainly an untapped market opportunity for us. And as we think about an acquisition strategy, it's one piece of something that we would like to add underneath that holding company or current umbrella under which MJ Freeway will be wholly owned. So we would be doing a buy versus build analysis of what to do with we have certainly the largest set of cannabis data that exists. We are statistically relevant in almost every market, and we have the longest set of data. So it's very exciting to think about how we can use that to help further the industry.
When will you start selling?
So we're due to close transaction, and just an update on where we are with the transaction. We announced the merger in October. We filed our S4, announced the merger in October, filed our S4 shortly thereafter. We've received our SEC comments. We're responding back to those. And depending on the government shutdown, we're expecting to list in January. We think it'll be February. So once we list, one avenue that we're interested in pursuing in the very, very near term is this buy versus build analysis of data. So we would be looking either for a target acquisition or to do something with our data.
I know in the past there were some issues with the hacking that went on. Can you discuss the security that you put to avoid those things in the future?
Sure, absolutely. So a couple things on this point. So we invented seed-to-sale technology, and in 2015, we raised our Series B round of venture financing led by Roger McNamee, and it replaced to invent MJ platform, which replaced our legacy seed-to-sale suite. So our legacy product did experience a cyber attack a couple years ago. It's not the product that we sell today, and I think it's important to note that in a year where we experienced that event, we still grew our revenue 50% year over year. Just to frame the impact, but certainly things live forever on the internet, and thank you for raising it. Moving forward, of course, MJ Platform is an entirely new product. It is built to scale, and it has very, very deep security. And in fact, the MTech acquisition team, as they were doing their diligence, they contracted with a third-party technology diligence firm to go very, very deep on our platform. They were looking for two things: can it scale, and how secure is it? And we came back with, can it scale? Yes, they have met every checkbox that we would want them to meet in terms of the types of technology that they've used and how they have structured and architected the program. And then it also came back, of course, as a result of our event, it certainly made us focus and spend quite a bit more resources in the security arena. And so we came back and we passed with flying colors that for a company of our size, they're going above and beyond what we normally expect to see and how we generally score companies for security. Anything else? Got 20 seconds left, otherwise we'll... I like to be on time. Okay, one more. Hi. NASDAQ. So MTech has listed as a special purpose acquisition company on NASDAQ, all over everything they've done for the purpose of acquiring company ancillary to the cannabis industry. After our merger, the ticker will change and we will remain listed on the NASDAQ. So this is important to note. MTech trades currently under MTEC on NASDAQ. There's an interesting opportunity right now when the rest of the world doesn't really understand, wait, I'm buying MTEC to own MJ Freeway, do I not just wait till you close? But actually, MTEC trades today, and there's an opportunity to buy before we have the type of research coverage and inclusion in ETFs and other lift that we expect the stock to see post-close. And there was one hand back there, yes?
You may have covered this, but what percentage of market share adoption would you say you have presently in terms of what are your major partners?
So the question was what percentage market and what are some major partners? So I'm happy to share some names with you privately because these are folks who have said that they agree to participate in our ambassador program. I can tell you that as you look at the list of public companies, we're roughly 30%. We are roughly 30% across the supply chain nationwide, and certainly have this footprint globally as well. Okay, with that, thank you for your time and attention.